Went to that exciting meeting last night, too.
All right, good evening. I would like to call the Town of Rocky Hill Planning and Zoning Commission special meeting of Wednesday, March 12, 2025 to order. Do you want to go brief, or I can provide brief?
You can go for it.
All right, so the special meetings are being held as we are embarking on revising the plan of conservation and development. That is a statutory requirement. Every 10 years, we have to update this document. So this is our second meeting, and what we are planning to do is meet often, as we have a deadline of June 30, 2025. So this is going to be a collaborative effort among various boards and commissions, including the public. We will be sending out the schedule of this meeting and the questionnaire that will go out to everybody, for the residents of this town to tell us what they think about how the town is developing. There are numerous questions, and we are looking for your input so that we can address your concerns, as appropriate as possible into this new POCD. Because this is the POCD, as you all know, is the guide for the development of the town. It puts all the factors, all the statutes that are being approved at the state level, and as we are progressing as a town in the new century, we are updating the POCD as well. So, having said that, we are looking forward to your input from the public as well as the other boards and commissions. Having said that, anyone in the public who would like to comment on the POCD?
Since I'm here.
All right.
Tim Lewis, 34 Ridge Road. I'm also president of Great Meadows Conservation Trust. Weathersfield is going through their POCD, and at their request, Great Meadows Conservation Trust has had a seat at the table for some of the discussions. And so we feel that we would like to offer the same here and have some input. I've reviewed the plan. I don't have any comments at this point, but would like to participate going forward. So that's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for attending, and looking forward to your input. We'll,
We do have we have a regular meeting coming up on the 19th, and I put the item on the agenda just as probably a brief update. But on the 26th, we'll be having another special meeting. So I certainly would encourage your members to attend and provide some feedback. I'll be sending a survey out to yourself if you could distribute that. We are in the process of getting our survey to become a fillable form and to be put online. So we'll have a link to that. I do, under public, I did receive an email after close of work today. If I could, it's on my phone.
Yep.
If I could read it to the record. And I also will print it out and have copies for you for your next meeting.
Yep.
Okay. It was sent to me at 5:08. This woman and I did have a conversation on the phone. She asked to sign up for all the agendas from different boards and commissions in town, so she thought this was interesting, so this is why she replied. Sorry this is so last minute. I wanted to get you a note with my thoughts about the plan of conservation and development. I didn't have a lot of notice or time to review this plan and provide comments since I got the notification on Monday, March 10th. Special meeting is tonight, March 12th, 2025. I've lived in Rocky Hill for almost 35 years. Over the years, I've come to love Rocky Hill with both its obvious and hidden charms. One thing that is a wonderful arrangement is the way Rocky Hill has so many municipal buildings grouped together as a town center. The town hall, library, senior community center, post office, police department, fire department, etc., all together in one walkable, cyclable area. There are enough sidewalks to safely walk around much of the town, though more are needed. There's a real feeling of a small town center. I wholeheartedly enjoy the design of the senior community center, which encourages people actively gathering, intermingling, creating good energy. In this plan, however, I don't see much reference to working with the best practices of climate change, which is already influencing our weather patterns. Currently, I see one map with references to 100-year floods and a note that the Rocky Hill Sustainable Task Force is a new entity. I'm hoping that designing with climate change impact in mind will more strongly be included in the revised plan. For example, I was dismayed to see that the Kelson Road property frontage was so close to the street that there was no possibility for shade trees to be planted. There are some small trees planted in the front. I don't know what kind they are, but they are obviously of a variety that look like they grow vertically, not outwards to shade the sidewalks that are there. There are existing pedestrian sidewalks. I expect that we will be seeing much increased pedestrian traffic in that area. I thought that in an ideal development, those sidewalks would have been expanded to double width to account for that and to give a more welcoming approach to the development. It seems like in these times of climate change and hotter summer weather, at bare minimum, we should be trying to increase the number of shade trees along pedestrian walkways. As the plan advocates for a quote-unquote small-town feel and pedestrian-friendly walkability, development guidelines going forward should encourage the understanding of climate change impact and where that can be reduced by project design. Since this was already in the 2015 plan, I don't understand why it didn't happen for Kelson Row. The language needs to be stronger going forward. For the current plan, and I believe she's quoting the current plan, town center, streetscape provide ample sidewalk width to encourage pedestrians, window to be shopping, outdoor dining, street trees, street furniture, benches, trash barrels, bicycle racks, etc. Plant street trees to create shade and enhance the overall appearance of the area. Place all utilities underground. Also, one more comment. I live in West Edge condominiums on the corner of West Street and Main Street. There is a lot of truck traffic on West Street. I expect this is because the shortest way from the highway to the more industrialized areas near Old Forge Road. But for me, over the years I have been here, the volume of truck traffic and also the loud motor scooters in the areas have increased the decibel level of noise way beyond what it used to be. When my windows are open, I can hear loud traffic constantly and can even hear the rumble of I-91 in the background. As we try to conserve our small-town feeling, is there any way we can address the increasing encroachment of noise pollution in our community? When I'm outside, my iPhone now keeps telling me that I'm using my phone at a volume that's too high to be healthy for me. Best of luck with the plan revisions needed by June. Look forward to seeing the new plan. Thanks for listening. Janice Rubin, 2 Caroline Drive, Apartment D, Rocky Hill.
What was the name? I didn't catch that.
Janice Rubin, Rubin. So I thank her for the comments. We had a lengthy conversation on the phone, and I know on the phone we did talk about climate change, and she was glad to see that we were pursuing this. So,
All right, yeah, thank you for the comments.
Yes.
I think we want to see more, and, hopefully
Yep.
she will get engaged and attend the meetings.
yeah, I would like to also tell you that I did attend the Economic Development Commission last evening, provided a brief introduction, the draft survey for them just to mull over. They were talking about, on their agenda, they were talking about a cultural district or, an art council thing, which we also talked about here, and that's one of the ideas that we had listed on the back of our survey also. So they did touch upon that. I did suggest that they come to a meeting also, and they asked where the plan of conservation and development was on our website, so I did direct them to the homepage, and they'll be taking a look at that, and I would like to invite them to our meeting on the 26th also.
Yep.
Okay, so they're,
Thank you. I see we have one more person in the audience. We are, it's a public comment period. I don't know if you have any comments to make. Okay. All right, thank you. Thanks for attending and, item 4, the schedule.
we had put forth two schedule possibilities as far as timeframe goes. Keep in mind, we're in crunch time. We need to have it adopted on or before June 18th. There are certain statutory requirements, and I know in the past, I passed something out. I took the statutes and basically highlighted dates, times, put in dates that, we needed to comply with. So 65 days prior to, we decided June 11th we had a week leeway here. So we have June 11th, and we also have June 18th. We opted for the June 11th version to have that extra week. So 65 days prior to, and I'm saying prior to April 15th, I need to send a draft to the council for comments. I need to send it to the Capital Region Council of Governments in Hartford for comments as well. 35 days prior to, and I'm saying prior to May 15th, I need to post that draft on the town website and also with the town clerk. So obviously, it can happen before these dates. June 11th would be a special P&Z meeting. We would have a special P&Z meeting and have a public hearing on that day. Now, the public hearing notice for that meeting would be as any other public hearing notice, so we don't have to do a 65-day notice. It would be the same as any public hearing. After the adoption of the plan, it would be within 35 days after, so prior to July 23rd, we need to post it on the town website, and then within 60 days or 62 days here, 60 days is a Sunday, so we're actually going a little bit less. We need to send it to OPM. So I want to verify those dates on that one, because that's the important one. So we have to send it on to the state.
All right.
So it's really a crunch schedule.
Yes, it's a aggressive schedule, and
It is.
Yes.
Now, we have hard copies of documents here. We can certainly send anybody and everybody on the commission. Victor was very kind, and I cannot thank him enough for his efforts in taking, we had a PDF that was put together by a consultant that we had used in the past, Planometrics, and he had taken that document and created Word documents from it. So he has given that to me. I have that, and Dimple, I believe you have that also. We can certainly send that out to each and every commission member so they can modify as they. Pardon?
That would be good.
Yeah.
To send it to us.
Yeah, but I mean, we have hard copies on the table this evening for your information and discussion, and we really have to.
Yep.
We have to do that. We can't just say, the meeting's going to be an hour and then go home. Or else the plan will end up being Victor's and Kim's plan now.
Yep.
So we really need to,
Are we going to send it as a Word document or
yes,
yeah,
I will send that out. Yep.
Documents,
documents?
yeah.
Many,
broken down.
Yeah, the problem is when I ripped it, the file is huge.
So you
And
get
so I
this
broke it down into
subdivided.
sections, and I had Kim print out the sections, so we literally can just talk about it as we go in sections. I started working on it, and I got to points where I was taking liberties that I shouldn't be taking without more input from everybody else. So I'd like to go over what I did, that way we can cross it off and just literally put it to the side, and then just keep on
Churning through, yeah.
keep on churning through it.
Yep.
Okay, that's a good plan.
there were some things as we printed, I was telling Victor, as we printed, the legends on the maps didn't work So there were some things with the mapping that didn't work, but there are some things that we may not need, right now. Before we start that, I do want to talk about the survey, and it's in your packet. There are going to be some changes. The first question, instead of about what do you see as the greatest need for Rocky Hill in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, we're going to change that 20 to 15 years. And then instead of having some are fillable questions and some are rank and rate type questions, we're going to remove the yes, no, do you think it's important, yes or no, and just have them rate 1 through 5, with 1 being, strongly agree or the best, and 5 being the least. We're also including the ideas from others, just to maybe get people thinking, so.
So when were we planning, to put it on outside?
Well, I talked to John Murphy in our IT department. He's our specialist with social media and all that, and I talked to him about doing the fillable form. I talked with him yesterday. I didn't have the time to reach out to him today, so.
Yes, I think what happened is this was revised based on our comments at the last meeting. So, hopefully, I don't want to spend too much time here because it's a questionnaire. And, as you can see, we only have,
Yeah, I mean, we did take, I know you and I had a conversation, and I did take that into account. There was a question on incentivizing
yep,
emergency services, that was removed, so, and then the timeframes.
Keep in mind that when people, the general public, not that they're lazy, but they try to fit things in between other things when these things come up, if they see 4 pages, they may decide, I'm not even going to bother. And so you may not get as many.
I have one already.
Yeah.
I
You haven't even released it yet, and you've got one. No, I'm just saying,
have one already.
Yeah, I
so-
mean-
I
that
know
was
when
nice.
Well, just don't make it mandatory fields, and they
Yeah.
answer what they answer, and we
Yeah,
keep on
that's-
going.
yeah.
when I get, asked for a review, when I buy something from Amazon or somebody, I look at it and I notice that it's only 3 or 4 questions, and I'll answer it. Otherwise, I said, oh, I don't have time to do this tonight, and the next thing I know,
Well,
I
if it was
forgot.
3 or 4 questions, then it won't really
right, I
help
mean, I
us.
think,
Yeah, I'm just saying
One-star
that
guy
if it's
on Amazon.
50 this is 20 questions right now.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
it,
probably right around where
That's
to
it.
keep it. Okay.
yeah, I mean, this is it, I mean, based on, we had a, long discussion at the last meeting, is like, do we want to give few, do we want to give yes, no, do we want to give option, right? Because we have to prod from public as to what they're thinking, and we are giving them some information so they can think and then provide us their comments, right? Otherwise,
So what's the goal, to get this out by the
Yeah.
weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be in touch with him
And then
tomorrow.
what's the cutoff date for results?
I put down April 15th.
But don't we have to have a rough,
but we have to have rough on April
Yeah.
15, right?
Well, keep in mind, even at a hearing, you can take and modify, and even when we enact it, we can still have public hearings to modify it thereafter. You don't have to just modify, I mean, we have to have something that goes to OPM eventually.
Yeah, I think
But,
So,
maybe what we do is we get a week before,
what if we have them for that 26th meeting, that meeting on the 26th? The results on our desk on the 26th. The only reason we say.
March 26th?
Isn't that our
Yep.
POCD only meeting after the 19th? The 19th is our regular meeting, then it's the 26th.
yeah,
Yep.
and then if
Are we
we
having one in April?
we can do that,
We'll have to,
we can do that, yeah.
I mean, I think we
Yeah.
should get at least a week in advance, so I want
So
to,
how long should we leave it in the field?
That
Two-
would be
2 weeks?
April 2nd,
2 weeks in the field? Is that fair?
please, yeah.
2
But I
weeks?
need to make sure it's done first before it's, yeah, because we could do April 2nd too.
and what we will do is, that's not like done, right? We are still going to consider comments as we are getting, but I think we want anybody who can provide the comments by such date.
yeah.
We appreciate that, but this is going to be an ongoing thing, so it's not like, after April 3rd or whatever, they're done. We'll still,
Well, we have to have something
Yeah.
for a final document to
Yes.
submit to the town council by the 15th. I mean,
Yeah.
it's useless if we don't have the data.
yes.
Yeah,
So let's do that.
Yeah, having some information
Yeah.
is gonna help guide us
Yes.
as we move forward, so even if it's not complete, I think that's fine.
Because we are still going to get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
So we talked about that. Do you want to talk about what you have done? Because
Yeah.
you have done a lot of work, so.
Yeah, I'd like to
you know.
just start right from the beginning, literally the front page and the first packet, and let's just cross it off the list. What I tried to do is I tried to cross out, use cross-throughs, strike-throughs, I'm sorry, to take out stuff that I don't think that should be there anymore. I changed the front cover. I took the liberty of picking 4 different segments of Rocky Hill, following the same theme as trying not to reinvent something. I used the new logo, I changed the fonts to create a more, a newer look to it. After seeing it printed, I think I'm gonna change, modify a couple things.
Yeah,
But
I mean-
otherwise, it's, I took the housing, the farming, the schools or the town part of it, and then I took the ferry, because the ferry. So as we went through I changed the top theme. In our P O C D, we have like big blocks and numbers in black and white, so I kind of was trying to use the colors in the new Rocky Hill logo and on the website. So you're gonna see the blues and the greens in the ribbon of the logo on the website. So that's kind of that. It's not gonna look like this with borders or anything. I just did that just to try to frame it better, because this was a very hard document to rip because of the way they formatted it originally. So this table of contents is gonna change depending on what we do, so I didn't bother to touch it. Changing, on the next page, I went through a lot of POCDs that have been redone in the last 3 to 5 years, and I changed the way to the residents a little bit. But I also, on the next page, we kind of buried the acknowledgements in the back of our POCD on the last time we did it, and I think it should go up front, comparing it to the state one, as well as I did Glastonbury, Simsbury, Old Saybrook, Weathersfield, I can't remember who else I did. And they did a nice job doing it up front, so I figured we'd mimic it. Kim kind of needed your help on the technical and administrative assistance on who to put in there. I really don't know outside of you. Because you were really the only one that was on the POC the last time. But I noticed that other towns, they had a lot of the other department heads and that kind of thing. Town manager,
Yeah,
town
we'll have-
council.
We'll have, well, I plan on attending a lot of different commission meetings this month. And I'm going to the council, I believe, on the 17th, Ray indicated. So it's kind of more of an introduction that way. But we're going to have Steve Soplak in engineering will be doing a lot of the maps for us. We already have our sidewalk map done for this year, things like that. So we'll be having a lot of technical assistance there as well, so.
If you see red font, that's new to the document. So that's kind of like the introduction. The rest of it doesn't really change other than the dates. So that's kind of like the introduction of it for that part. The next one that I worked on.
I know some of the history I have, and it's on my computer at home, unfortunately.
Yeah, I ripped some of the history. Oh, conditions and trends. if you go to conditions and trends, that's the next section I worked on. It's tried to update the pictures with more up-to-date pictures versus the kind of like the staple pictures that were in it with watermarks in them. Technically, would should not have been in a document, but whatever. So the four sections, the four things, the themes of this section is history, homes, people, and business. If you guys think of something else I should do, what I would like, if anybody has like, I tried to search for people pictures to have more of a collaboration of different things that we did in town. I searched on Parks and Rec, I searched on all the different events, and I couldn't really find anything other than, so if Parks and Rec has any like stock pictures that they have of things that they've done in town,
Yeah.
or a library or something like, they have a library of pictures that we can pick from. I'd rather have that than searching for pictures and making sure that, so it's kind of.
Yeah,
what
I
we-
guarantee they do.
Yeah.
I guarantee they
They,
do.
they have something.
Or like, we have Memorial Day
Yeah.
parades and stuff like
Yeah.
that. If we have those, we can.
Well, we have a lot of things on our Facebook pages as
Yeah.
well, and
Well,
our social media.
We also
so-
want to make sure we represent everybody of Rocky Hill and not just certain things like, a
Correct.
Time Fest in October, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yep.
we have a bunch of things that go on in Rocky Hill. I want to make sure we represent them all in this, with the pictures,
Yeah.
so. I changed the history. If you look on page 2, this is mostly from what you
That-
sent me.
Document, yeah.
I took out the whole, a lot of the history still needs to be worked on because.
Yeah, I
it-
took what was there, and I have it on my computer at home, and I took and kind of condensed it considerably,
Mm-hmm.
because I think we want to hit the highlights, but I don't think we need to really go into,
Yeah, my goal is to add a lot more pictures than this.
yeah.
And to be honest with you, I was actually looking through that, The History of Rocky Hill in Pictures, that book.
Okay.
Mike Martino, is that his name?
Mark Martin, yeah.
He wrote that, so I was kind of basing those pictures, I have the book, and I was looking through the pictures. So maybe the Historical Society can come up with some really cool pictures for us there, rather than stock photos of Native Americans on a ship, you know what I mean? It's like, we have plenty of history in Rocky Hill that we can use for that.
Well, I think you said you were working with the Historical Commission, right? Or you met somebody?
I did talk to, my daughter, as a matter of fact, volunteers there every Saturday as a docent, so I did talk to a few of the members that were there this past week, as a matter of fact, and they said, whatever you need, so I will,
So maybe we can talk to them
Yeah.
and they can give you.
yep.
Does it make sense to put links in here to other documents that, like, if there's a document about the history of Rocky Hill, say,
So
here's a link.
that's one of the questions I wanted to ask. A couple of the modern ones that it just passed, that just were created from other towns, they literally, at the end of the document, have all their working documents as links to the website. The affordable housing plan,
Well, those are actually,
plans that are constantly changing, they're
those
in
are
the
actually going to
document.
be chapters, those will actually be included in the document
But
itself.
do we want to?
That will be part of the appendix, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So we want to
rather
put them in the
than-
appendix rather than
Right.
links.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll put it there, and the other thing is also, we don't want to link everything, right? Because what can happen is things change.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you have attached everything.
If you're changing the Parks and Rec, if
Right.
Parks and Rec Department are changing their master plan, we need to have a public hearing on
Right.
the modification.
So-
Right,
But the housing plan, affordable housing plan,
That's our plan.
that's
our
your plan.
Right. So we
Community
can do that.
resiliency, that's something we want to include anyways in this document, so that should be part of this.
So the theme of the links that that we should put in there? Is it basically going to each department head and coming up with like like you said, what you just said there, the master plan, that?
Well, the Parks Master Plan,
That's what I mean.
if we link it, I mean, that's a problem, because that's not our document.
Right, again.
Oh, okay, so we
We're
don't
not-
want to do anything
But
like
we
that.
want to do the affordable housing plan.
But we're
That's
gonna-
part of this.
We're agreeing to put that in the back.
Yeah, the community resiliency plan.
Yep.
Eventually, we're going to have a complete streets plan. That should be part of this, because that's going to be,
Something that the commission approved, I think should go here. Because understand what's going to happen is people will be using this document to justify what they're coming up with.
Right.
So you don't want to put so much in there that now, if some plan changes, now it doesn't,
Right.
it's in conflict.
Right.
That will
If
create
it's
a
a
problem.
link, if it's a link, it's part of this
It's
plan.
part of this plan.
Then we have to vet that.
Yes.
And then we gotta keep
So
vetting
we don't want
stuff. Yeah, I agree.
Put until,
Sort of a risk management approach.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
so the affordable housing plan is from 2022 to 2027. When that's updated, you're actually having a hearing on the plan, but you're also combining it with the hearing to update the POCD, because that's part of it. The community resiliency building, it's summary of findings. So this is a chapter that another plan needs to be adopted to comply with.
I manipulated that. I forgot to make it a document,
Oh,
but it's, because I made it landscape, which was
okay.
not good. So I think it should just go back to portrait and.
Okay.
The problem is
Appendix, yeah.
our POCD is in landscape, and it's very hard to manipulate a portrait document into a landscape document. So we all agree that we're gonna keep that document as well as our affordable housing, we're gonna keep it the way it was.
As is, yeah.
As is, and just attach it to the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
The last section, another section I worked on was implementation, just because it was easy. I literally just changed the picture in it and kept it because it's kind of figured I'd get the sweet implementation.
oh, look at it.
So, but overall, do you guys like the way the headings are, the way the logos are? And the way we're going with it? Do you want to change anything? Do you want to keep some of those things that are on the sides in the old plan that, because the way I look at it, some of that stuff didn't really, it was kind of like, just like filler that we can just cut out and keep the ones that's applicable, but
Yeah.
there was a lot of filler in there that.
There is.
I think we need to make new history here larger, as
Yes.
I know it's a minor, it's very minor
Yeah.
comment, but I do like,
So I think we can keep that as needed, right, the side ones?
Yeah.
Because we can give a history, like when, affordable housing plan, right, that we approved, we can give a history, like what happened and approved, and so,
Where are these located on the website?
when you say these,
All the,
all these
Yeah.
things? No, this was an email that Victor had given myself and Dimple, and I indicated at the beginning of this meeting that I will be sending this in Word format to each and every
okay,
member.
that's
so,
fine.
so what happened is he ripped it, because we had one document, he broke it down into different chapters that we have.
Okay,
For
that's fine.
easy,
Okay.
Yep.
So I don't know if you guys want to just pick one and literally go through it and say yay or nay and keep it going.
I mean,
or
the
do you-
history, I can continue on with my editing and bring that back to a meeting. If you'd like, I can either bring it back to the 19th or the 26th, because it will be edited. It will be, tapered down a bit,
Yeah.
so if you'd like, I can do that for either date. I don't know which.
Do you want to go through like the first one, like contents, and then,
No,
see?
just pick a plan, just pick
Right.
a chapter.
And
It can be a big one, it can be a small one, and
Well, you said you worked on implementation, why don't we go through that one?
Well, implementation, all it did was just change the header, because it's implementation.
Nothing,
All that hard.
not a lot of
So if
change.
you want to
Yeah.
talk about planning issues, conservation strategies, development strategies, infrastructure strategies, or future land use plan.
How about
Planning issues.
infrastructure?
Thinking the future
Future
land
land
use
use,
plan. What? The future land use plan should be, we taught the others,
Done.
don't you think?
all right,
That and
We're not
implementation.
gonna talk about that one.
all right.
How about infrastructure strategies? That looks like it might be,
That's,
we're running out of things that you're frowning about.
What? You're running out of things and what?
Nothing.
I'm frowning about?
Infrastructure?
we can talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, just as an example, just
Yep.
to see what we're doing.
So infrastructure strategies. So, the one thing that we need to address in this is that we gotta make sure all the information in the tables is right. If something's been done, I think we need to cross it out. If something is missing, we need to add it, and if something needs to be modified, like some of this, like Brook Street at Henkel Way, the rotary, yeah, that's still a plan. Do we keep it just because it's a working thing, or do we say, you know what, we don't really like that? But some of the stuff we did already, and that's kind of like what we need to talk about. So, the first page, 3 pictures, I'm probably gonna change them, just because we wanna, freshen them up a little bit. Community facilities, transportation, utilities, are those 3 good topics? Are we happy with those topics?
Sure.
Yeah, because that's the infrastructure, so,
Yeah.
yep.
So we have, the next page is address community facility needs. Kim, do we need to do that because we have the plan? Do we need to have this part? Or do we need to just modify it because we have that facility plan that's gonna be in the back?
Well, when you say the facility plan,
That thing you just showed us, that facility,
no, that was resiliency,
that's what I mean.
community resiliency.
A lot of facility
That's-
stuff in that.
There's some, but that's not necessarily the
Yeah, this is,
plan.
facility is related to our
This could
town.
be, yeah, schools, this
Okay.
could be
Schools,
town
town
hall, highway
community
garage,
center.
parks garage, yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
what
some
we're
of this stuff
targeting.
needs to be updated because it's 2017, school enrollments and that kind of thing, so we'll need some up-to-date numbers. I'm not
Yep.
sure how we get those numbers.
I walk a couple feet down
So
the
this
hall.
Board of
to
Education
Board of
gets
Ed.
us those numbers?
Yep.
Okay,
I know they did a great presentation last year for the budget. I'm sure he's working on his budget presentation for this year, and he has that,
so are these sections literally the department heads writing them for us, or are we writing them with department head influence?
Well, it-
Education is BOE, they gotta tell us the information,
Yeah, I mean, is there something that they're looking for? Is there something that they're looking for? Obviously, CREC has been built.
Yep.
We know that. We know that Mosier School has been built. We know that. What are their what are their needs with respect to their schools? I know in reviewing information for the capital improvements plan, that's something we want to talk about at some point as well. There were things that were kind of larger maintenance items, roofing, modifying the interior of some schools, but there really were no additional needs for additional buildings. So,
We should also talk about the trend, right? Because of what I hear is the population, like, the kids' population is going down. I mean, I don't know if
that's what, we had it when Superintendent Zito
Yep.
gave his budget presentation last year, and I have a copy of that, the trend was down.
Yeah.
So they
So I think
actually
we should
lost
have,
children.
we should have
Yeah.
that, because that tells us that there is no, probably we don't have a need for a new or expansion of a school or something like that. So I think those should be in here, like the latest.
Yeah. Public safety looks like it's just a straightforward section. I don't know if we need to just basically get,
I don't think there's
I mean, I
anything.
think it's
What
the
about that?
status.
yeah,
Yeah, was there anything in the climate plan that we should put in there under public safety? Because isn't part of the climate plan to designate like a public safety area for
Well,
people?
we also have an emergency management director where we didn't before. So that should be added in there as well.
Okay.
so then we have recreation, that's still gonna go forward, other facility issues. So we kinda need some input from either staff or other commissions for this section. I mean, I can go through and just strike through what's been done, but this is
That's like the
where I'm
spread,
getting the
that's,
liberty, I
that's
don't
the
wanna.
spreadsheet.
Yeah, this is, we don't, you know,
Yeah.
I think we need,
And-
you know, the department's
yeah.
input.
Yeah,
People need
well,
to
you're gonna
start
get
writing
department
stuff
input
for us.
from, you're gonna get department input from, you know, parks, from engineering with
Yep.
respect to sidewalks and streets, facilities, would be the facilities director or our town facility director. On these other things, where we have the, policies and action steps, those are things commission should really take a look at and say, okay, have we done, so need to do it. And then in concert with the respective department heads, you know, they're gonna provide some input.
I mean, for example, the one is here that says, other issues of comprehensive evaluation,
Where,
one bullet is like-
whereabouts are you?
and that's another thing, page numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
where,
the pages.
Oh, they didn't come.
They're messed up
Yeah.
because,
yeah.
because we've been adding and deleting.
Yeah.
So at
So
the end,
where-
the page numbers
They
will.
will come back.
Yeah.
So whereabouts,
So third page, those 7, 8
oh,
bullets.
okay,
Replacing aging fleet vehicles. So it's like, okay, is that an ongoing thing, or is that done, or is, you know?
oh, okay, yep,
So I think,
It's ongoing.
It's on-
yeah,
capital
it's more
improvement plan.
ongoing, yeah.
Did we even have a capital improvement plan when this thing was 10 years ago? I mean, I don't even know. so I
yep,
would-
yep.
Well, keep in mind, capital improvements planning, the process is changing, it's modifying. Before, it was all done by the council, now there's more staff input to it. I know in a true capital improvements plan, Planning and Zoning Commission would have some input to that, and that,
Company cars?
of course, I'm, pardon?
Company cars?
Yeah, okay. But that,
You
that's
should call him
coming.
at the budget.
Trying.
So, but
He
that,
wants to have that conversation about mileage.
so so the process for capital improvements planning is something that we should include in this, as, in our P O C D as something that the town should really be looking at, doing a true capital improvements program.
Just a general, for the header on all the tables, we start off with policies. But policies usually relate back to a formal policy document that's signed off and written by someone in authority to write policy. It'd have to be the mayor or whoever. Are these policies, they read more like objectives?
Yeah, this.
I think that's what it should be.
You want to
Yeah.
change them to objectives and not policies? I'm okay with that.
You can change that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Making progress. And then action steps, I mean, that's understood. And then these maps, right, I mean, you said we'll
Yeah,
put all these
these are going to
updated
be
maps.
updated.
Yep,
These are all going to be updated.
Well, I mean, do we want to, I mean, I remember talking to our facilities director, and I know years ago, when Christy Haas was here, and that was a long time ago, there was a community facilities plan, and each building, they went through a detailed assessment on conditions, needs, you know, whatever it was. And yes, it was kind of like a immediate need versus, you know, 5-year, 10-year, 15-year need for each building. Do we have that now? I don't know that we do. We may. So that's something we need to reach out to facilities, both the Board of Ed facilities folks as well as municipal facilities folks. So I think that should stay in there. As far as action steps, We don't need to determine the possible use, future use of Mosier School, because we know what that use is.
That's
It's
done.
Mosier School.
Yep.
So, okay, so we remove that.
Okay,
And then we're going to,
so now we have manage the roadway network. Do we have any more studies that we need to add when it comes to Route 3? The 2012 Route 3 study, 2004 South Corridor, or,
We also have a study coming up, the town of Weathersfield in Rocky Hill is undertaking a study from Parsonage Street, basically north to the Harvard line, with respect to walkability. There's also Department of Transportation is looking at interchange 24 as far as sidewalks, possibly realigning the interchange. So there's a lot going on with respect to Solestein.
but we don't have anything.
but we don't have
right.
anything formal that we can add to this, right?
No, it's just that it's been
Okay.
funded and that will be undertaken.
Any plans for like economic development, going to, funding to OPM or whatever for any of the improvements?
Okay.
Because I think those should be part of, like, if any are in the
Well,
works.
also, we need to keep in mind, the plan of conservation and development, and I know that a lot of people get hung up on, well, where's the funding coming from? Where's the funding coming from? We have to kind of get rid of that mindset.
No, what I'm saying is, and I understand, what I'm saying is any plans that are being developed to go for funding. I'm not talking about funding, but if there are any plans that town staff is working on, like let's redevelop that area or that area or that area, those should be here, like.
Well, yeah, because we're looking at extending the streetscape, further north. We're looking at modifying zoning, more mixed-use zoning,
Yep.
middle housing, along Solestein Highway from the town center zone northward to the town line. Those are the types of things that we are looking at.
Because I don't know if there is any plan of like, working on, where we have Ames, and then the open space that we have that we use for,
Okay, Yep, that's
you
being
know,
looked
that
at also.
development, that whole, so
That's being
those
looked at
kinds of
also,
things.
yeah.
Right.
That would be
So I
part of
think
the town
those
center,
would be,
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
part of this. So,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah, but I want to just go back to what I was saying as far as this document, while, yes, I mean, the town needs to look at funding, but I think the ideas are in this document. Sometimes we have to discount right now and think of ideas and what's best for the town, and then we look at the funding.
Yep. Now, I was thinking about like if there's already any work is being, like, we don't have
There are
90-12 type bond, so in lieu of those, is there anything?
Well, we do have those plans are still valid plans. I mean, you may or may not want a roundabout at Henkel and Brook Street.
Yep.
Or you,
By the way,
well,
Well, it's going to take a lot of space.
it's okay.
And keep in mind that
Yeah.
Got the new
a lot
development.
of towns around the country are taking those out because they're,
Glastonbury just put
Safety.
several in.
yes,
No,
they
I
do.
think, DOT is looking at putting a lot of roundabouts. I mean, that's where they're going. But
Yeah.
I think that particular area, that's going to take, when you have roundabout, it's going to,
It's okay.
it's,
but anyway, that's.
So if we go to that next section here, specific roadway improvements, I think technically we've already done number 1, right? Cromwell Avenue and New Britain Avenue, the realignment there. I mean, haven't we done number 1? Haven't we done number 2? We really didn't do, yeah.
Correct.
We've done number 3. Cromwell Avenue and Brook Street, trying to think, yeah. All these have been redone when they redid Route 3, right?
Correct.
Well, they paved it. They-
Yeah, but they also redid.
They
When
restriped.
Town Center West went in, that was realigned. When Cumberland Farms went in, that section was redone.
Yeah, they put in the double turn lane.
Yep.
Double
Right
turn
in front of
lane.
the
Brook
company.
Street, Brook Street and Route 3, when that, all that was done, that was redone. So technically, this whole section has been done. Now, we need to think about other roadway improvements?
And keep in mind, these are state roads, but I know that they're concentrating on Celestine. I mean, there's possibility of a road diet for Celestine Highway.
Yeah.
With the
So
possibility
is
of
that
a
something we
double
should
left.
do here?
I think we should put
And we
that
come
in
up with the 5 or 6, it seems like the theme of this section was Route 3, really, every intersection on Route 3.
Yeah, and this is
So-
following the tie and bond plan.
Yeah, so do we need to consider now that Kelson Rowe's in and all the studies on the Salas Dean, do we need to start addressing what's going on this side of town when it comes to those intersections, especially at West and Main, West Street and Main, trying to align that intersection?
West
I
and
know we
Main
can't-
Dividend.
Dividend, so,
Even a sidewalk that we were talking about from Main to
so I think that would be a
Glastonbury
good
Ave.
theme for this section, all those improvements along the Dean.
The dean?
The Dean.
Dean, I like that.
If we're gonna, if we have the objective to increase the bikeability of the town, do we need to do something with the roadways, evaluate some of the roadways to?
Well, in some part of this, we need to include the complete street thing,
Yeah.
which is.
Which
the-
would be
Just
part of
part of-
this.
Which will come later,
Part of
probably in the
this section.
summer.
It'll be it'll be in this section.
It would be in this section somewhere.
Complete
in this
streets
section.
would be part of this section.
Right.
So technically, if we really wanted to,
So we have a policy, but we don't have a plan, a complete streets plan in place. That would certainly be something, an action step for,
so do you want to make it a section, or do you want to make it?
I would put it in here.
That's what I mean, but do
Yeah.
you want to make it like one of these, like bullet points, or do you want to make it like right after these, we start talking about complete streets?
They have like bicyclists on page 79. You know, they have that. In addition.
They're talking about support other transportation
Right.
modes. I think we should modify that
For a complete
to,
street?
for complete streets. Because that's, transportation for all, streets for all.
I mean, I think the big one is, and I've talked about this many times in the past, like, what do we do with, 99? Because it's like a highway. People just pass by. And, because we don't have like a downtown type of setting, there's nothing there. People just go by, fly by, and, so what can we do to slow down the traffic?
Well, that's what I was saying, the DOT is actually looking at, as part of this Rocky Hill Weathersfield, and on their own, they're looking at a road diet
Yep.
along 99. And there's conversations about narrowing lanes, there's conversations about, in some areas, eliminating a lane and putting in the dual turn lane.
parking or- yeah.
I mean, years ago, there was a plan to put in a raised median, that was in like 1990, and that the business community,
And that doesn't, right.
Really raised-
It
raised-
creates a problem,
yeah.
a barrier.
Yeah, but we had that discussion then.
So we can talk about in general, I mean, so if that is going to go further, then at least we can talk about,
But I think we should put in here,
Right.
Can we,
road diet for
yep,
Solacene
I
Highway.
don't know if it's, can we also include the sidewalk plan that we now have?
And we do have that, yeah.
Can we include that in this section also?
Yeah.
And come up with last time we came up with roadway improvements, and we added those. Can we add sidewalk improvements, areas of the town in which we think that are hotspots for sidewalk, either additions
Well, and
or-
that ties in with, that's complete streets.
Yeah.
So that all, there's a.
No, can we identify them, like, set goals to complete the Elm Street? I know it's, Glastonbury Avenue.
Well, Glastonbury Avenue, that's in the works.
But
Elm
you know what I
Elm
mean?
Street, that's in the
Right,
works, yeah.
but the public, if we get it in document.
Yep, you
know what I
can put
mean?
that in.
We memorialize it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Glastonbury Avenue.
To mention it, not get into the specifics of this, that, and the other, because
Yeah, but we-
that's all part of a.
We
some
spent
other
many
plan.
a PIC meeting
Yep.
ad nauseum talking about the sidewalk plan in this town and how there are, how we need to make the connections. And the goal is Glastonbury Avenue, the goal is, we need to get to the ferry. ultimately get to the ferry, get to the ferry, get to the ferry. We should put that in this document, that it's a goal. That's
So I think
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like here,
Not
I know it's a roadway connections, but something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like connection, you know,
Yeah.
connecting two
We're
locations.
connecting,
If we're gonna write a plan, you know, if we were being held accountable for implementing our own plan, you know, you're gonna wanna have to report on progress. If there's things we're already doing, but they're not done yet, shouldn't it be in the plan so that when we go to
Yeah.
report on progress,
Yeah.
we're gonna check off?
And those
"Hey,
are
this
in
one-
there."
This one
Yeah,
got done.
so that's what-
Those are
yeah.
being worked on right now.
Yeah.
Those are going.
so I think we should get those in the
now.
plan.
Yep.
Even if they're done by the time they're printed.
That's correct.
One thing that we checked off.
Right, right.
And that should, I think that should all be, there should be a complete streets heading, and under there should be pedestrians,
Pedestrian plan,
sidewalks,
Sidewalk plan.
bicycles. Obviously, there's, you know, public transportation, the ferry. There's been some discussion about, yeah, we have a minibus service for, typically for seniors, but is there another need for some other form of transportation for residents that may not drive or may need, you know, need a ride around town, whatever?
Yep.
Light rail.
Actually,
Works in industrial area.
okay,
One
but
50-foot
all that
section.
should be under the complete streets heading. And then one of the goals is to come up, formulate a complete streets plan.
Yep. Okay.
And
So
then
I
we
think
talked
that-
about a sidewalk fund, right? I mean,
Oh,
Yeah, so-
that's gonna come up in every meeting now.
yeah.
We have to put that in
I
the
mean,
agenda.
That's
So I mean, yeah, I,
item.
What, the sidewalk fund?
yeah,
We should-
so,
We should put that on our agenda, like, every time
That's-
and talk about it. ad
Because we
nauseam.
have,
Why
we
doesn't the
have,
chairman go to a town council
There's
meeting and
like-
bring it up as an agenda item at a town
well,
council meeting?
so I
there's like
got,
17 ordinances that I know.
Yeah.
Sorry for those in the audience, but there are like 17 ordinances that I know the Department of Community Development Services are looking at to modify.
so,
That's one of them, and I know I talked about that before.
and I think this is perfect timing, you know, because of the audience, we can bring that up and say, you know, maybe council can take on the ordinance for sidewalk fund. So what it is right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, if it's a residential development, if we don't put a sidewalk because of its hill, subdivision, because of hill or this or that or whatever, it's not feasible, we can collect money and put it in the sidewalk account. If there is, you know, a project that's coming in industrial area, because there are no sidewalks, you know, we can collect the money because ordinance doesn't allow for us to collect the money from that development. So we would like to have that opportunity and that, you know, ordinance change so we can ask
That's
for.
a separate, and I don't know if there is a separate line item. I know there were special accounts, and within that special account, there were mentions of where that money came from, but per statute, I believe it has to be a separate fund per
And that
statute.
is fine. I mean,
However-
that is easy to
However,
do
they
it.
This is over
to-
and above
That's
the
easy
plan
to
of
do it.
conservation and development,
Yeah.
though. I mean, we're now doing,
We're doing the bidding of the planning and zoning.
yeah.
No, you can put
No, no,
in,
this
you can
is-
put
this
in,
is-
create
Yeah.
This
create a
is the-
sidewalk
this
fund.
is-
That
Right,
is,
well, let's not write the fund
No, no,
here.
no,
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 that's
no, no.
what
we're doing.
The intent was, because we have audience here, we can, you know, maybe, you know, bring it up to council and say, you know, this was one of the things that they were discussing, like changing the ordinance, you know, to collect, you know.
Yeah, we've been
We need
talking
that
about it
tool
for,
in our toolbox. We
Yep.
don't have, right now, we don't have the tool
We
in the
don't have
toolbox.
tool. Yep.
And the biggest thing that comes in front of us is sidewalks to nowhere. And they say, why waste the money? And we're like, well, we want sidewalks in this town. We understand that the sidewalk can't be built in that area because it leads to nowhere. So in lieu of that, pay X amount of dollars per linear feet that you're not gonna put in, and we can put it in on, you know, on New Road, on Hayes Road, or in the town center, or somewhere that where it's more applicable and more people can use it. That's kind of the way it works. And we've been asking for that tool and that toolbox to literally have,
For more than 10 years.
yeah, for people to, when they come, they can't say that, you know, we don't want to put a sidewalk in. Okay, if you don't want to put a sidewalk in, we understand, but you don't give us the money so we can
Yep.
put it where we want to put it in this town.
Yep.
And make it better.
We're getting off the subject.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, the theme on this page here for the table in the back, we're still gonna go with objectives and action steps all throughout the document rather
Yeah.
than policies. And then other transportation modes, I don't see any of that changing other than town engineering updating this. They have all these updated
Right.
maps there. Piped infrastructure, I'm assuming, I mean, I don't know if this is applicable, if it's changed, I don't even know who has this information. Do you guys have this? Maintain adequate infrastructure services, piped infrastructure for water and sewer.
Well, we have updated utility maps.
Yeah, so is that literally just, you know,
Yeah. we can put those.
make sure utility,
I mean, I think in looking at this, what comes to mind is, you know, whenever there is flooding, you know, what are the problems, where are the problem areas, and who is responsible for those, right? So,
And that goes to the resiliency plan also.
Yep.
One of the biggest things this town needs is an updated drainage study.
yes,
Our updated or quote-unquote up-to-date drainage study was done like in the late 60s, early 70s. I think things have changed a
lot.
little bit before, since then. So,
yeah, so I think that's something comes under the pipe, you know, because MDC, you know, may have updated, you know, information that they're planning to update. So all those things should come here if we have those plans.
well, in the back, you have like the policies. Victor was saying something about policies and action steps. We should go through those and
the storm drainage master plan.
Where-
It was
where-
there last time.
Yep.
yeah, that's,
I mean, I know,
That's gonna be a requirement now if that new bill goes through, that every town has to inventory their drainage structures.
Yep.
So. it's
is that
probably
in
gonna be-
this legislative or?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Senate bill, or the Senate Bill 6868 or something, where each town is gonna have to be required to do that. That's probably gonna pass.
Yep,
So we're gonna have to do that anyway.
yep.
do we want to go back to,
So, one comment, like, I don't know what CROG has in terms of updated, any updated plans or anything like that, that we can,
They have,
That in.
they have an approved plan already.
no, like, so, any studies or any
Oh,
plans
I don't-
related to
I
us.
see what you mean,
know,
yeah.
So we can put that in,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. And we have the Crag plan.
right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was approved 2-3 months ago.
Yep.
Actually, they mentioned it at the November meeting.
Can we go through the objectives and action steps included in the infrastructure section?
Yes.
As far as, I'm seeing page 76, as far as managed roadway network. Some of these things are very general, obviously maintain the safety and capacity of the roadway system in Rocky Hill. And that, it's kind of like a no-brainer. Implement
Well, capacity is an issue, because, I mean, if you're gonna narrow roads, you lose capacity. I mean, technically you don't, but in essence you do, because you're slowing traffic down, so you're losing capacity. There's the conflict, because a lot of people want to widen roads to get more cars through. That's one school of thought. The other school of thought is narrow things up, put in chicanes and things like that, speed humps, to slow traffic down. So I think it really depends on where you are. Because number one could be in conflict with some of the things we want to do in terms of make safer. Maintain safety and capacity, those two things.
But maintain means,
Well, maintain, I guess, is, but in some
Got it.
cases,
That
we're
means-
talking about like losing capacity. If you can afford to lose capacity.
I mean,
Whether we lose it or whether we gain it, we're still maintaining the capacity.
Yeah.
That's a generalized statement.
right, that's not,
I think we're trying to keep it general in there because we understand that in each time we look at it, are we expanding or are we lightening?
and there are other people that are doing studies and looking at whether we have enough capacity or too much, or speed, or slowing people down, or cars down. I mean, that's general, and that's
That's a
probably the way
generic,
it should
yeah.
be in this.
Yeah,
this
there's a
doc-
nuance there that probably we can't capture in something like this, but I'm just bringing it up as an item that we need to caveat it somewhere, that in some cases, we may want to slow down traffic through traffic calming measures.
Yep.
That in essence reduce capacity.
Well, again, that's a general
Yeah.
objective, that's not,
Well, we can talk about that,
Specific.
when we talk about the road diets in
And
on
the
the South
complete
Highway.
streets, it may be in the
and
complete streets
Complete
plan.
streets, we can talk about that.
We can talk about
Yeah.
there, yeah.
Yeah, because I know there are some ideas in talking about Dividend Road, for example, talking about possibly doing just what you're saying, maybe we can configure that intersection using stop signs. We configure the portion of Dividend from Pratt Street north to Main Street to kind of slow traffic up. So there's a few things we've been talking about.
Okay.
Working closely with CROG and DOT regarding transportation issues in Rocky Hill. I know we're concentrating on Celestine Highway now versus Route 3. So,
Do we need to have any town roads or tertiary roads in any of these objectives? Rather than always just talking about Celestine or Route 3? We do have Brook Street, major thoroughfare. We talk about the north-south ways. We don't talk about the east-west ways in this town. Elm
Well,
Street, Brook Street,
and one of
West
the
Street.
one of the thoughts, and I did reach out to some of the lieutenants on the police department when we talked about police complete streets, because I was saying anecdotally, where are the issues in town? I mean, we hear about some things, but we don't necessarily know everything. They're much more familiar with history, so I've started that dialogue with them on that.
I mean, to
So
your
you
point,
might wanna-
7 is, doesn't 7 cover
yeah.
Where are you?
D and all that? I mean, it's a general thing. I mean, I think number 6 was trying to focus on 2 major, and then
Yeah.
in terms of maintenance and stuff, it's like,
But I can probably debate that West Street and Brook Street and Elm Street are almost just as busy as sometimes Celestine and Route 3. And that's because that's the interconnection now.
yep.
And,
West Street and Cromwell Avenue is notorious for certain things, so.
yeah, and plus that's the highway connection
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And so I'm just throwing it out there that, we should make sure we focus on town roads as well as state roads in this little area.
What else? You good on that?
What does number 8 mean? Establish an access management section in the zoning regulations.
Talking curb cuts,
Oh,
Access,
okay, so
controlling
sharing.
curb cuts, it would be nice.
Basically do
And that's very difficult. I know we tried that in the past out on Route 3 to have property owners share curb
Combined,
cuts.
yeah.
And it worked when they shared, when they owned the separate properties. But it was very difficult to get people to say,
to
you know,
give
and
up,
it-
to give up that curb cut.
to give up a curb cut, yeah. But at the same time, gee, I'm coming to the establishment on this property, I have to drive by your property. I might stop there. And they didn't get that. I mean, it worked a few times, but
Number 9, didn't we change the subdivision regulations since this last document, and do we need to care about changing it?
we did modify the subdivision
that was done,
regulations.
like-
And the subdivision regulations should certainly be reviewed after this is adopted, and that should be in here somewhere. As far as, modify, update the zoning regs, update the subdivision regs to conform with this. That's
There'll
the
always
next-
be some of those that will be here forever, so it gives us opportunity and, to change it.
And we also modified the zoning regulations to support the plan of conservation
Yes.
and development, especially with the development of the town center, the village.
Right.
And Glastonbury Avenue and everything else.
So, I know in one of our plans, we did have a connection from Silas Dean Highway to the municipal campus. That was in one of our plans to actually create a connection, possibly a one-way connection from Silas Dean Highway into the campus. And as part of the POCD, I know we're looking to create more public spaces possibly, so that would lend itself to that. So that may tie in here, modifying the roadway.
Create a connection from West Street to Elm Street. That'll save a lot of traffic.
I mean,
Corporate Drive.
Gilbert.
How about the no truck ordinance on,
The Outer France is not, that's not,
how about the no truck ordinance on Capitol Boulevard?
well, the whole OSTA with the no truck traffic, a lot of those things have evolved without necessarily getting appropriate approval. I know in talking to our department head, Steve Sopelak, there are some areas where they have no truck traffic signs posted, but they never went through the appropriate process. And it just kind of happened through the years ago.
Yeah, there's no
So who puts
truck
those up?
traffic through the end,
So
the eastern
OSTA,
part
OSTA
of.
has to approve
Right.
the no,
But who put those up,
who knows? It was so long ago, I couldn't tell you.
Every
don't know.
truck GPS takes you through Capitol Boulevard to get to Brook Street.
That's correct. I figured that out because we had gotten complaints when Burris first opened, and I ended up talking to Garmin, because the Garmins were big at that time. And if you're in the Midwest, you're gonna get off the highway, you're gonna go through Capitol Boulevard. But those roadways, in all, honesty, those roadways were constructed to take truck traffic.
Exactly, it's,
So,
I mean, and I
because you
think
have a
that's
pinch
what
point at the end of
we're
Brook
talking
Street
about
and Cromwell
capacity.
Avenue.
Yeah.
That's kind of a nightmare issue over in that area.
If you try to choke one thing, then it creates problems somewhere else. So
Yeah.
it's tricky.
it is, yeah.
Okay.
So are you good on that? I think we will still provide comments, but at least we are going through this open dialogue.
There were some other objectives.
Where, same infrastructure?
Yeah, and the same thing, a few pages after that, after what I'm calling now the complete street section, where support other transportation modes, or we could just say support complete streets.
I mean, I think other transportation, I mean, it's a generic,
Yeah.
so you are not bogged down to,
Yeah,
we can still keep that and then follow complete street concept if you want, or.
yeah.
Technically, is number 7, that's, the rail line is open now, so should that go away?
It's not for passenger service, though, I don't
Oh,
think.
it depends on what you want. I mean, are you thinking
for
you
freight.
might want passenger service? Keep in mind, we have to keep a really open mind here. So is that something you might want to?
Yeah, I think we should keep it in
You
there.
can keep in there, and when it happens, it
Whether
may
it
happen.
happens or not, it's
Yeah, I mean-
somewhat beyond our control, but maybe someday it'll discontinue as a,
It's a freight.
one trip a day freight is what it is.
Yeah, it's very limited right now.
Yeah. I I can hear it from my house when it crosses.
Me too.
Because we as a state and as a country, we have to focus on rail, right? We gave up all our rail straight lines. We lost all those connections, you know, and now it's creating problem. We were focused on highways. We were highway-centric development.
I'm with you, you know? The train has left the station on that, though.
Yes, and it's unfortunate because we gave up all these straight lines, because rail is the only transportation where you can have straight, without grade, you know, right-of-ways.
But we can come up with the greatest plan in the world, but if Cromwell doesn't and Weathersfield doesn't, then we're just gonna have a train going back and forth 4 miles. And this is all has to do, the state has to oversee
Yeah.
this, not
Yes,
the
yes,
town
yes,
of
yes.
Rocky Hill.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep,
Otherwise, we just get some trolley cars and go back and forth.
yep.
It's like Radiator Springs. Radiator Springs,
I don't do that.
Cars, the movie.
Oh,
We
never
talk
saw-
about, obviously, the sidewalk master plan, the pedestrian, maintain a pedestrian master plan, whether it's sidewalks or trails. We do have the sidewalk master plan. It's kind of a yearly thing. It's based upon funding.
Yep.
Trails is something that.
It has
That's
evolved.
different. That's
Right.
different, but that's evolving, and there's a lot of discussion about the trails in Weathersfield connecting to Rocky Hill. And I
So would
know-
that be under conservation, or would that be under this?
Well, it's here too, because it's, once again,
It's transportation.
it's
Under
it's
global.
walkability, so you can tie, all the sections kind of do tie together, so, but should there be a trail plan? Yes, there should be. I know we talked about connecting open spaces, and you can do that with trails. We do have a greenway that does go over paved areas. There had been some discussion in the past about the meadows, and I know it's a sensitive issue, but they do have public roads in the meadows that are gated off, and people do walk there, and people do bike there. You can't really prevent people from walking and biking there now, as long as they're on the public roads. But do we want to designate that as a trail? You know, how do we connect to, you know, the parks? How do we connect the park systems? There had been a plan for Elm Ridge Park to do trail system in there, so I think that should be included in here. I know there are groups in town, Walk Bike Rocky Hill. I think they've come to some of our meetings in the past, because they talk about the bicycle master plan. And I know Steve Sopelak had been to the council meeting talking about possible bike lanes. But due to the roadway width, it didn't work. The right-of-way width, it didn't work at the time.
But there
so
were some areas that, like Century Hill,
that-
Concierge, up that way, and all that sidewalk plan up there, and the riding, the bike plan. There were areas of town where they were bike-friendly.
It could be done.
Yes.
Do you want, does the town want to investigate? Do they want to just put up a sign, bike-friendly community? Do they want to actually, paint something on the road? Do they
That
want?
work, that should be in here.
Yeah,
Yeah, that work should be in here, because
Yeah.
there was a lot of work done to get it to this point,
yeah.
and it should be part of the plan that we keep on talking about it.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was determined that some of the roadways were not conducive to having bikes because of safety, right?
Yeah, they weren't wide enough.
They were not
Yeah.
wide enough.
Yeah.
Couldn't paint it, how do you paint it?
How
do
to
you-
paint.
how do
So-
Is it signs, is it sharrows on the
Right.
ground? Is
Yeah.
it-
So it's.
But it still needs to be talked about, so that's
Yep.
why it should be in here.
Yeah, and it is.
Yeah.
Is it not?
So,
No, we have to add it, they
well,
came up
we
with
have
plans.
established a bicycle
Oh, yeah,
committee.
your
Is that
plan.
something that we want to encourage, or do we want it to be more of a grassroots organization, or an investigation,
Well,
investigate?
technically, bicycle committee is now Walk Bike Rocky Hill, isn't it?
Well, that's not a town,
It's not a
Oh, I
town
see.
not
created
per se,
committee.
it's not a, I mean, it's a organized grassroots organization,
Gotcha.
but it's not a town.
We can just keep it established,
Yeah.
because, I mean, it's again, one of the problem is getting volunteers and all these committees and all that. I mean, if you keep on creating all these committees, you have one-person committee, you know, so it's hard to have all these
Sometimes
committees
there's,
set up.
I know one of my comments in my laundry list of ideas was sometimes there's a lot of redundancy.
Right.
And it might be nice to kind of whittle down committees and maybe add duties to certain committees, so.
I mean, PIC is the overall, you know, for everything, that we can
That's
bring
the
everybody in.
implementation
Yeah.
committee,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna have a committee, maybe you should have a complete streets committee that's looking at everything all together. I
And
think there
creating the
is.
streets, complete streets plan, yes.
We have a plan.
We have a plan?
Yeah.
No, no, we have the policy, but have a complete streets committee, and that's a great idea for this, as establish a complete, good job, create a complete streets committee.
Yeah,
And then,
they can
under them,
interact with the grassroots folks.
yes,
Right.
Skateboards,
Electric skateboards.
electric scooters.
yeah,
Okay.
we have another idea here, thank you.
Yeah, you can,
Hoverboards.
I always like these.
I know this is tedious, but it has to be done, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep, yep.
So, obviously, the zoning regulations have been modified, and we have been getting bike racks, and we are looking for those types of things, so that's.
we should just keep that, right?
Well, I don't think we need to amend the regulations, it's already in there.
No, so we can say zoning regulations to allow, just in there, like,
Maintain zoning
Maintain or
regulations
something.
to allow bike
yeah.
racks.
Enforce.
Of course, yeah.
Well,
Well,
I
it's
mean-
for new development, so
Alright.
we can't make
So
people.
we can say maintain or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, we can't take and ask people
Implement.
after the fact, so, yeah.
We want to, I mean, at least,
they're there. They don't
they're there, I
need to be
think.
implemented.
Yeah,
They're
we'll just do our job.
what we have seen is, right, I
for
mean,
meetings.
No,
That's
but-
not in here.
but I think what we have seen is when developers come, right, they bring, and they will try to put something, and then we go back here and say, hey, look,
And if they didn't,
You-
then we
right,
make that as a
we make
condition
that
of
condition,
approval.
right.
So,
So we need things like this here.
right. But we don't need to amend the zoning regulations
I think we
anymore.
already
I
did.
think people can wipe that out. Or, like you said, maintain
Maintain, yeah.
bike racks.
Okay, I'm sure there's some other things here. Maintain adequate infrastructure services. Continue to require support, extension, improvement of piped infrastructure such as public water, public sewer, natural gas. Obviously, we are not in charge of the public water, public sewer, or natural gas, but I know there have been problems with, overflows and things like that, and that's, a problem. Yeah, when we have new developments, especially subdivisions, require utilities underground. I know years ago, there was a grant to put the utilities underground on Silestein, which is a major undertaking. But tree trimming, wireless communication services, update storm drainage master plan. I can't stress that enough, especially with the flooding and the weather patterns we've had, and in the history in Rocky Hill that we've seen, we can't deny that. So that to me is a major priority. Also, we did get some correspondence from the Wetlands Commission on low-impact development. That's, I know, in talking with their staff, who basically sent some feelers out to their board members. That's something they really want to see concentrated on in this document, as well as updated zoning regulations for low-impact development. So,
I mean, have they updated their regulations? Can we, if we are going to talk something specific, like, I don't know where, like examples of things like that,
For,
for wetlands, I don't know if they have updated their regulations, like low impact development, like what they mean, you know? What is their goal?
I know they gave us some information, I think it may be going out in our next packet. We have a lot of information going out, and I've had like meeting after meeting, so we'll be getting that packet out to you. But I don't know that they've had a comprehensive update of their regs in a while.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't think so.
so is that good? You're good on this?
Yeah.
Good?
I think so.
Okay.
What's next?
I think it's,
That next
is that
meeting.
good, everybody?
Oh, yeah.
I think Ronnie's all packed up.
Yeah, I mean, we're ready to roll.
What do you mean,
Just a,
are we going
funny
on to another
story.
section, or,
Huh?
no?
no. We've,
So
my back is killing me.
as far as the electronic document versus paper document, how do you want to do it? Do you want people to read and then just submit to you? And then I can keep on making the edits,
Yeah.
and making the
Yeah,
overall
I'll be
edits? Or do you
I'll be
want-
sending that out to people by email. I'll be sending this out.
We should send them all back to Kim so that we're not crossing wires with each other and
I don't mind
constituting
keep
an
on
illegal meeting too.
editing
Yeah.
when I have time. That's the problem. I don't have time, but I mean, when I
So
have
we're gonna
time.
be working in separate documents, and Kim, you're gonna be
Right.
Yeah.
looking at everybody's comments and
Yeah, but too much,
synthesizing them into one.
Oh, no, yeah, we don't, only one person can edit.
Yes.
Everything has to go to someone, and then we have
Right.
to,
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be sending everything out to everyone tomorrow. The history, I'll deal with that.
okay.
Yep,
I'll deal with that. That's on my home computer. I'll get that on my flash drive, which is in my back pocket.
And if you guys have any ideas or pictures or whatever, send them to Kim, and then Kim can get them to me, or if you wanted to send them to me, but I don't know how
Yep.
it works when it comes to meetings and quorums and all the other stuff, so.
Well, it has to be no more than 2 people on an email.
Right,
3
that's-
people is a quorum.
That's why
That's
they
why
should
when
go-
I send things
Yeah,
out,
we
I
should
typically
just
do.
send it to you.
Send
Yeah.
everything to you.
Yeah, so that would be
My
protocol.
email will
just-
blow up and the computer will crash and I
Yes, the
can't
whole
do
goal is
anything.
to update all the pictures in this document, so.
Yeah. And I would ask anyone in the audience, or anyone at home, if they have pictures of Rocky Hill. It would be nice, we had an individual who passed away not long ago, that lived on Pratt Street, that took lovely photos of, especially the river area.
Yes,
It would be
yes.
lovely if we
She
could
took like
get,
a lot of good pictures.
yeah, and I will probably reach out to family
I
members
forgot her
and see.
name, she passed away recently, like.
Yep.
used to put-
Barbie Robison,
Yes,
yes, and.
I think she may have it on Facebook.
What?
Yeah, but it would be nice if,
Rocky Hill
you know,
Pharmacy?
I
Yeah,
would
well,
still
it used
get
to be,
permission just because.
right where
And we would
Council Road.
attribute, if you have photos, make sure we attribute it to the correct
That's
people.
that was right across the street from the package store.
Just a funny story about this plan that you've got. This
Oh.
is very interesting, this capital region
Yep.
market
Government,
forces.
Yep,
At the meeting last week, I said, this is good, so I was doing screenshots of every slide so that I could send it to Kim. And then halfway through it, he said, oh, I'm gonna send this out to everybody tomorrow morning. So I got this huge document at home that I'm not even gonna use.
Yeah, this is from Goldman York, and I know I sat on a webinar for Goldman York as far as, the markets and what have you. This was sent to me by Nancy Brescia, who isn't
Yeah.
here this evening, but she gave this to me. Don Poland, if you may remember, years back, did a program on economic development here in the council chambers. I think it was through it might have been a joint meeting with the town council.
A long time ago.
It was yeah, I know.
That
Well,
was
I've
before my time.
been here a while, I guess. So, but this has a lot of great information in here. So,
Mostly bullet points, but still, it's good stuff.
yeah, so.
All right, any other comments?
I would ask that at our, I mean, I don't know what our next meeting will be like, but I would like to, if we have any time, to at least start discussing another section
Yeah,
at the 19th, and I'm saying the 19th. We have 2 items on the agenda. But if we could start discussing another section,
yep.
so we have something to target for the 26th.
Yeah.
Okay? What section will we be discussing at that point?
So we have 2, no public hearing, right?
We have 2 public hearings. We have the completion of
Gas station and
the gas
AR.
station.
Oh, okay.
We have
So
AR
then,
also.
then it's going to be long,
Yeah, probably.
It may be.
right?
So pick a short section.
Sometimes we have to, I mean, we have a lot, we're in crunch time. I can't stress that enough. So we
All right, so let's see.
really have to, we're going to be meeting on the 26th. So you know, that we will be meeting on the 2nd. I don't know where the meeting space will be on the 2nd, but I know we have the room for the 26th.
Let's do planning, right? Planning issues.
Yeah.
We'll do planning. So everybody, so I think what we'll do is we'll be prepared with our comments, so then we can go quick,
Okay,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So
why I,
planning issue, anything else? Is any other?
Well, the other ones are pretty meaty, like development and conservation strategies.
Those are heavy
Those are heavy ones.
duty, yeah.
and we hope to get that survey out. I'll reach out to IT and find out the status thereof. I've been sending it out to people as I talk to them. Even if we're talking about a sign, whatever, I still send it out to them. If they have a business in town, if they live in town, it doesn't matter.
Pepper everybody.
Yeah.
So can I make one suggestion, like, do you want to put
Yes.
our meetings here as well? So then.
Okay, we can.
We can post it, so public has
We can.
information when we are going to meet to
Okay.
discuss this POCD, so then,
I will add that.
any other questions?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion,
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
in favor? Aye. Motion passes, thank you.